Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be showing you how I took this tropical themed nightstand and transformed it into a beautiful vintage Victorian inspired nightstand. This table was in pretty decent condition. The cane webbing on the top, sides, and drawers was all taken care of. There was no tears on any of them, which was a huge plus. And it only had a couple of nicks and dings here and there that seemed very intentional with the piece, so I was pretty excited. It also seemed to have been a tropical theme inspired based on all these palm trees painted at the front of the drawers. The other thing I noticed was that the knobs for all four drawers were missing. Yes, it's a little hard to tell, but there were four drawers. That is very impressive with such a small nightstand. And finally, one of the drawers, the rail had broken and it was out of place and needed to be fixed. And with all of that in mind, I went to work. I started off by cleaning the piece with some warm water and soap. The next thing I needed to do was give this a good sand down. Because this piece was different textured surfaces and I didn't want to damage the web caning, I decided to use a surf prep foam pad. This is going to help to get into those hard to reach areas without damaging the rest of the surface around it. And I started off by using a 220 grit sandpaper, and this seemed to do the trick. Now, originally, I wanted to bring the cane webbing down to its natural color and give it some kind of a stain, and then paint the rest of the frame in a solid color, kind of giving it that two-tone look. However, after sanding for a little while, I realized that was not going to be feasible. There was going to be some areas where it was going to be just way too hard to reach, even with the Surf Prep foam pad. It just wasn't reaching these areas. And I was concerned that if I kept going, I was going to damage the piece. So I had to find a way to pivot. After cleaning the nightstand from all the dust residue, I decided that maybe I could give the cane webbing a faux wood effect. So I gave the entire thing a coat of all purpose primer. To ensure that I covered all those hard to reach areas, I used a foam roller, a paintbrush, and even a sponge just to make sure everything was even. Once it was fully dried, I used a 220 grit sandpaper and lightly sanded the piece to remove any small bumps or imperfections. What I'm looking for are just small little grainy pieces on the surface and remove those to ensure that the surface was nice and smooth. Okay, so remember, I'm trying to give the cane webbing a faux wood effect. So, using some painter's tape, I outlined the frame of the drawers because I still wanted to accomplish that two-tone look I originally was looking for. Attempt number one. I tried applying a coat of paint, specifically a mixture of this truffle with a white modern color. Using a sponge and a brush, I started applying it to the cane webbing area, just trying to give it some strokes to attempt to make it look like wood. Okay, I felt this look so bad. It just looked like paint on top of all of this. And so for attempt number two, I decided to use some stain, hoping that maybe this would give it that wood effect I was looking for. Using a mahogany color, I lightly applied a layer of stain using a rag. And even though this did give it a different look, as you can see here in the bottom two drawers, it was still not what I was looking for. I'm not sure how you guys are, but I definitely get into a funky headspace when my visions do not come to life. So, for attempt number three, I went to social media asking for help. I got some great ideas, such as painting the piece a dark color, like a black or a navy blue. Others had mentioned maybe doing it more of a vintage piece and giving it a distressed look. And then finally, my mother in law loved this piece and she wanted it for her guest bedroom. She asked if I could give it a vintage Victorian look. And ding, 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 we had a winner. That's the way I went. Using the same technique I used for the primer, I gave the entire thing 2 layers of bare jade mist color. To seal the piece, I used a layer of bare polyurethane in a matte finish. Once that was fully dried, I wanted to give it that distressed look. So I used a 120 grit sandpaper and started to roughen up some of the edges of the nightstand. This part is not my strong suit. I always have a hard time when it comes to distressing a piece. A good rule of thumb is to start on the edges and the parts that are sticking out and then move into the flat areas. I don't really think there's a wrong way to do this, but truly, Just start small and then keep adding. That's the easiest thing. Once I was happy with the amount of distressed edges I had created, I still felt this needed that antique look. The paint looked way too bright and way too new for the feel I was going for. So I decided to give this a wax finish. Using an antique brown color and a clean rag, I simply applied the wax to the surface and buffed it out until the shine came out. Something I didn't show you guys is how I fixed the drawer that was out of place. It seemed that all it really needed was a couple of nails to reinforce it and hold it into place. So that's exactly what I did. I placed some nails back into place, added some extra ones just to secure it, and it was a simple fix. Finally, all this piece was missing was some new drawer knobs. I had some simple black round knobs from a previous project I had saved, and I thought it would go great with this nightstand. However, I wanted them to be in more of an antique gold color. So I simply gave them a quick spray with the Rust Oleum Antique Gold color and then set them into place. After a bit of a roller coaster of trial and error, we took this tropical inspired nightstand and transformed it into a beautiful vintage Victorian style nightstand. I love how this turned out. I am not gonna lie. There were moments I was ready to give up and just move on from this piece. But thanks to people's support on social media and the ideas that they gave me, all those brainstorming options, that is what kept me going. I love the distress look on this antique gold, the furniture design, the style. It just ties in so beautifully. And for those that are curious, I'll make sure to add a link of supplies that I used in the description below. And that's going to be it for this video. And if you haven't done so, please make sure you guys like and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see y'all next time here at Angie's Crafts Furniture Renovation. Bye.